Hi, I'm Kat Rambo, and you may or may not be aware that I've written a nonfiction book called Creating an Online Presence for Writers, and that I do classes on that. And I'm in the process of updating that. A lot of the book is still quite valid, but the thing about social media is that stuff really changes on the internet quickly. And so, in the process of doing that, I'm finding some stuff that I really want to talk about because when I mention them, people are often like, huh? And so today I wanted to talk about Twitter lists. And so hopefully you've got a Twitter account. If you don't, none of this is going to be useful to you. But if you have a Twitter account, you may want to open yours up and follow along. So let's look at my Twitter account and the list that I have on it. Okay, so you should be able to see, um, this is what happens when you click on your lists page and you don't find it here. Where you will find it is here. And this is what it says. It'll give you the complete list, and it will give it to you in a believe in a somewhat random order, but we'll see. And so you can see I've got private list number 1 and private list number 2 up there, and I'm not going to talk about those, but I am going to talk about these others. So these are in the owned category. These are ones that I have created, and I'll talk about why I've created them and how I use them. Here are ones that I am subscribed to, a number of them, but I'm not subscribed to that many because I have so many that I forget to do so. And then here is the list that I'm a member of. And these are lists that other people have created. And so I'm going to warn you right now that if you are pretty outspoken, you may find yourself on a list like libtards or silly Muppets or something like that, and you have no control over that. It's fine. Just ignore those. So how do I use these? Let's look at one of the most important ones that I have, which is interactives. So interactives are people who retweet and interact with my posts. And one of the reasons that I will go to this list sometimes and look to see what's on there is that I want those people to continue interacting with me, and so I interact with them. That's a great way to have a list, and I need to update it. It's probably got a lot more than 207 members by now, but it's a great way to track people, particularly track the people who are very active about supporting you. Another list that I have, which is very popular, is the non-binary fantasy and science fiction creatives. And you can see with this, one of the things that you do with your list is you talk about what they are, and this is, anybody can see this. And I'll talk a little bit about public list versus private list. This is a public list, so anyone can see this, and you can see this is non-binary folks working in fantasy and science fiction, creating arts, books, comics, games, anything. And it has 739 members, which means that when you look at the feed, when you look at this feed, you are going to find content from 739 number people. And when you look to see who is subscribed to this list, who wants to be able to access it, who wants to be able to see this content on a daily basis, you can see that there are 213 of them. Okay. What are some of my other lists? Okay, Portlandia peeps. This is because I'm thinking about moving to Portland soon. And one of the things I'm trying to do is kind of build some networking there ahead of time. And so I've got some people on there that I follow. I'm kind of establishing a relationship ahead of time. Model horses. I enjoy model horses, and so I have some Twitter lists that I follow. Story Seeds is another one that I've created that I frequently use to mine for content. This is a lot of auto-generated content, Possum Every Hour, This is a bot, Martyrs Mirror bot, no comment bot, a hex a day. And sometimes these are interesting story prompts. And so I retweet them with the hashtag StorySeed. And so people can look at these. You can see that 7 different people have subscribed to it. And you can see that I'm pulling from 72 different groups. Daily reads, stuff that I want to read on a daily basis. Images is a great one because one of the things I like to do is have a lot of visual content. And you can see I've just said image heavy streams to delight your eyes. I've made this a public list. There's no reason not to, but you can see there's only one person that subscribed to it. We will avoid clicking through and exposing them. So, but there are, as you can see, 279 different places that are Twitter accounts that I'm pulling from. And some really pretty stuff. And so how do I use these? I like this one, okay? So I want to use it. And I'm going to queue that up to go into Buffer next week. I'm not going to put it in Instagram. I'm going to stick it in Buffer, okay? And it will show up in Facebook. And I'll talk about Buffer some other points if you like. Pretty cute. So that's how I do it. I think that's all of them. You can see that there's some of these that I started and abandoned. And you can see I've got one for family that's locked, right? If you have one that's just like people that I want to follow because they're family members, don't make that public because then some jackass will use it to harass you. Okay, so you can see Seattle, all Seattle folks, 131 sites. Mostly Corona stuff, but Seattle Aquarium, CDC. Okay. So that's how I use Twitter lists. And periodically I will tweet about them. So I might tweet and say, here is my list of non-binary fantasy and science fiction creatives. If you want content by these folks, subscribe to the list. If you should be on the list, please let me know. And it is a list that a lot of people interact with, and it's a service. One of the things that you should think about when you're creating lists is that you're curating content. You are creating a unique filter, you're creating a unique viewpoint in the world. You're saying, if you're interested in X, here are some of the people that you should be following. So that's how I use Twitter lists. If you're more, if you're curious about and want more, Twitter has an excellent help system. And I suggest that you read the section on lists because I'm sure there's stuff that I haven't covered. But this is how I use lists. I hope that's useful to you. If it's not, drop a comment, let me know. If you want to see more videos like this, drop a comment, let me know. If you like what I'm doing, think about supporting me on Patreon. And in the meantime, I'm filming this in the days of the pandemic, so go wash your hands, even if it's no longer the time of the pandemic at the time you see this. So thanks a lot. Let me know if this was useful.